Josh Hokit may have had one of the weirdest rises in the UFC. Competing in a division filled with aging and out-of-shape fighters, he had all the accolades to stand out with athletic merit alone. But instead of letting his fists do the talking, he doubled down on this bizarre personality. And at first glance, that approach wasn't doing him any favors.
There are quite a lot of people in the world who are not a big fan of Josh Hokit's shtick.
Yeah,
but when you go
I'm one of them.
So here is the story of how the corniest man in the UFC turned cringe into a career. To say that Josh Hokit is odd would be an understatement. Tony Ferguson, Diego Sanchez, Tito Ortiz, those guys are weird. Hokit, on the other hand, operates on a different plane entirely.
Mama, you know who the best is, mama?
Trash talk and self-promotion have always gone hand in hand for UFC fighters. After all, Conor McGregor and Chael Sonnen laid the groundwork for how personalities and charisma could sell pay-per-views as much as skill. But here's the thing, they were actually great at what they did.
Listen guys, if you're not willing to go too far, you will never go far enough in life, and I don't care. I don't promote fights, I pick fights. I'm like John Jones, I sound like Sean Combs, and I got trombone-sized stones like John Holmes.
Meanwhile, Hokit's shtick is different. Like, there are levels to what he does, and each one makes less sense than the last. First of all, we have the Incredible Hulk, which is like an overconfident fighter who also somehow resembles a Temu version of Hulk Hogan.
20,000 people. 20 million watching around the world to see the Incredible Hulk. I will show everybody that I'm the best from the east to the west.
But that's hardly the only persona in his gallery of absurd characters. He also enjoys playing a Mexican gangster, and no one really knows why.
Yeah. Hey, Jared, you want to come up here and say anything, Doug? Hold on. The vato's coming out, Doug. Hold on. Hey, what's up, dog? Hey, that shit got kind of weird, dog.
And then there is just Josh. And Josh is just kind of a really shy guy.
Next fighter to the scale,
Here
rising
comes
heavyweight contender competing on the main card, Josh Hokit.
the Incredible Hulk or Josh Hokit. There are two of them. And there's also like a Mexican gangster. Oh, this is Josh. This is Josh. Josh is the guy that's like very sad and scared.
He's embarrassed.
The Incredible Hulk, he's embarrassed. The Incredible Hulk sometimes gets Josh in over his head. But now listen, this kid
Josh is a character too?
Yeah, Josh is a character too.
Well,
look at him, look at him.
That's real Josh.
That's Josh.
No, that's not real
That's
Josh.
how he naturally is.
The thing is, the skit doesn't really stop, at least when the cameras are rolling. One day, the Incredible Hulk may be taunting other fighters backstage. The other, he may be just Josh, who stutters in the presence of Laura Sanko.
Laura, I don't play chess, but I know a queen when I see one.
Oh, wow.
Josh Hokit just became my favorite fighter.
Wow.
Point being, his mic game is rather erratic, to say the least. And for part of the fanbase, those antics just came off as trying too hard, to the point that many on social media were actively rooting against him in the last Octagon appearances. But that doesn't seem to affect him whatsoever.
Josh, you've come out here in the gimmick, the costume. Curious if you feel like this character you're doing is connecting with the fans, or if maybe people are finding it a little bit cringe.
I will never understand how Dan Hooker can like another man when you could come to the sand and see a nice booty with a nice tan here in Miami, Florida. What's up, Miami? No need to dread. Curtis doesn't use his head, and judging by his bottom lip, his tongue is probably dead.
Curtis, have you ever been more popular than you're going to be on Saturday night?
I can easily understand why everyone here is booing this guy. Like, the clown act, I get it, but I wouldn't. Not my thing.
On the surface, it may seem like an odd strategy. After all, why would anyone risk receiving widespread hate? We've seen funny fighters, good trash talkers, and even some cringe merchants. But what we haven't seen yet was a professional rage baiter inside the octagon. And deep down, that is actually pretty smart, because real genius is knowing how to actually win the attention game. Summertime expenses in 2026 are stacking up faster than ever, from those pricey family vacations and record gas prices to looming tuition and camp fees. For many of us, it feels like the only option is swiping the credit card, leaving you trapped in a cycle of high-interest debt. Homeowners, American Financing has a way out. This isn't about shortcuts. It's a real strategic plan to reset your finances and reclaim your budget. At American Financing, they specialize in building plans tailored specifically to your goals. They look at your current debt and show you exactly how your home's equity can work smarter for you. Imagine rolling that high-interest debt into one simple, manageable monthly payment. There are no upfront fees and zero pressure. Just honest advice from a salary-based consultant. On average, their customers are saving $800 a month. That's real breathing room. Start today and you may even be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. American Financing, America's home for home loans. 866-891-7332. That's 866-891-7332 or americanfinancing.net/markfighting. There are 2 ways of making it in the UFC. The conventional way, via athletic merit, requires a fighter to climb through the rankings by defeating contenders and earning their spot at the top. But there are some caveats to that strategy. John Fitch was likely the second best welterweight of his time, yet he got released on his first losing streak and fans barely remember him nowadays. Or Jacare Souza, who never got a title shot despite earning it, while Bisping and the UFC chased more exciting fights. As much as it hurts to say it, modern MMA is more of an attention game rather than truly a sport, which means that relying solely on athletic accomplishments can very easily backfire, especially if you aren't pulling in any numbers. In that scenario, getting any type of attention becomes the real bargaining chip.
The one thing they have to have is emotion. If you can draw an emotion, whether it's negative or whether it's positive, it makes you know that people are invested in you. I went through a part of my career where people just hated me, but then I realized, oh my God, they're not indifferent.
And fan love, respect, and admiration are far from the only forces that can boost one's popularity. Think about it. How many nice guys become major pay-per-view draws? Probably GSP, and that's pretty much it. Which goes to show the biggest needle movers in the sport were able to generate as much commotion as possible. While Sonnen was a fan favorite, he was equally loathed by the entirety of Brazil. The same goes for McGregor, who managed to draw in just as many haters as fans over the years. Then there's John Jones, who managed to multiply the number of fans who despise him seemingly every year. Even though that wasn't intentional, the bottom line is, hate can be just as strong a fuel, if not stronger.
After I fought the number 6 guy in the world, Dong Hum Kim, and I went to Singapore to fight him, and I just saw like how Sean Shelby was treating me like after the fight. He's like, oh yeah, you know, maybe we'll get you someone in the rankings, maybe not. You know, he didn't really have like a plan for me, and I'm just like, dude, I'm like 8-1, 9-1 in the UFC. Like, how am I not getting like a crazy contract and big fights, you know, and number 1 contender fights, championship fights? Like, what's the direction? So I knew. I was like, going after that fight, I started talking mad smack. I was like, Damian, Ma, I'm gonna come drop my nuts on your head right in your hometown of Sao Paulo, Brazil. All you Brazilians are filthy animals, and Brazil's a dump. And I knew going into that fight I had to do something different, you know, otherwise I was going to lose my job.
And here may lie the brilliance of Josh Hokit. He is eccentric, over the top and all over the place, and yet he's playing the attention game to a T.
There was nobody at the press conference that was even remotely as sought after and got the reaction of the crowd as Josh Hokit. Not even close. Then you come to the weigh-in, which is nothing. It's a scale, it's Rogan. Like, the athletes aren't all that much to do with, right? You got the girls out there and you got the lights and you got some excitement. He stole those weigh-ins, and I mean, it wasn't even close.
And he hasn't shied away from controversy. In fact, he's been searching for it for quite a while now. He was already gaining media attention for his controversial remarks even before joining the UFC. Even back in his LFA days, Hokit already understood that being hated could be just as valuable as being loved.
I think it's all part of the process, and love me, hate me, you're gonna have to pay me. Maybe that'll give them a reason to tune in.
And here's the deal. While being on the mic can be a huge boost, it all comes down to having to back it up against elite competition. Because it's all fun and games in the talking the talk part of the equation, but actually walking the walk is often harder than people think. Since the McGregor boom of the last decade, we've seen countless fighters inflate their personas on the mic, only to fall flat when it came time to deliver. Some even seemed so out of character that it was obvious to the fans that they were tryhards.
I already got like people hitting me up on Twitter and blah, 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 saying I'm trying to be like Conor, man. Conor, I ain't trying to be like none of that. If anything, he trying to be like me.
Conor himself went on to win multiple world titles, and Sonnen took the greatest middleweight ever to deep waters. Point being, they were able to back it up. And here are the untold risks of playing the attention game at its greatest difficulty. Talking smack and backing it up in the cage usually leads to titles, legend status, or at the very least, hefty purses. But if a fighter spends months, sometimes years hyping himself up, only to fall short when it really matters, chances are he ends up as the butt of the joke.
No one cares about you. No one cares about you. You're pathetic.
Do you care about me?
No, yeah, because you got the worst decision in the history of the sport. So many bad calls against me.
Oh, yeah, no,
you didn't. I stood right up. That wasn't even close. No,
face.
Marty Fake Newsman. You didn't break my face. I got right up and protested it right away. That was a fake stoppage, fake ref, fake fight. Wait till I see you next time. Wait till I see you next time, Marty Fake Newsman. You're dead. You're dead.
Am
you
I?
got unfinished business.
Really?
You better show up.
Really?
I'm coming for you.
You said that last time. What happened?
Yeah, wait till this time.
And for Josh, the majority of fans expected the gimmick to end violently when he was paired to face longtime UFC veteran Curtis Blades. After all, despite doing his best to appear in the media, he had yet to face a real opposition up until that point.
It's one of those situations where if you lose, there's big risk of looking like a fool. I played the same game. But if you win, there's big opportunity to fast-track yourself.
And Blades, a former title challenger who has been competing at the very top of the division for the last decade, presented quite a big step up in competition. So, his fight at UFC 327 represented the make or break point for his career. But when push came to shove, he not only showed up, but also delivered one of the most exciting heavyweight bouts in recent years.
Just one of the most insane fights you'll ever see. Josh Hokit defeating Curtis Blades via unanimous decision, which is a fair call in my judgment. Blades certainly making a strong account of himself, Chuck, but let's just ask this. Was Blades versus Hokit fight of the year?
Man, it's crazy that we're having this conversation after everything we've been talking about with the heavyweights, and then all of a sudden we're talking about a fight of the year candidate.
Both fighters put on a show in a back and forth scrap that will be remembered for ages. By defeating the 5th ranked fighter, Josh vaulted himself straight into the mix among the top. For fans who only knew him as the press conference jester, this may have been surprising, but when you look at the broader scope of his athletic career, the result was hardly a surprise.
Josh Hokit scores in wrestling and in football. Yeah, you heard that right. Josh Hokit competes in both sports. Now, we've seen it done in football and track, but not football and wrestling. Josh Hokit is currently the only Division I athlete to be competing in both.
After standing out as a promising prospect in his high school years, he later played college football as a running back and fullback, racking up more than 1,500 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns along the way. But that's not all. He was a beast on the wrestling mat too, becoming a 2-time All-American wrestler. He was such a top athlete that he even signed with the 49ers as a free agent in 2020. But when the NFL didn't quite work out, Hokit transitioned to MMA. Having an athlete of this size and caliber competing in martial arts is, by itself, a rare feat. And when adding to that mix the fact that he's only 27 years old and has a knack for show business, we could very well be talking about the man who will help carry this otherwise lackluster division into a new era of its own. John Jones is gone, Stipe is retired, Tom Aspinall seems like he's ready to bounce. Outside of the upcoming Alex Pereira heavyweight experience, the division feels like its better days are long past it. In a weight class where guys like Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis can still be ranked, despite barely winning over the past few years, it's obvious that the talent pool has thinned out.
We have a disastrous situation at heavyweight where there's virtually nothing of any kind of high quality. Tai Tuivasa is still ranked, is 0-6 in his last 6 and hasn't won in 4 years. But the problem gets magnified when you realize they don't want to sign Francis Ngannou, and they tried to sign Rico, but it appears that they didn't offer him enough money, so he went to go box instead.
Adding insult to injury, Francis Ngannou, who many consider to be the best heavyweight on the planet, will compete on the Netflix card, which could very well be the most watched MMA event of the year, if not ever. So for the UFC, the future of the once most popular division seems ill-fated, with little sign of revival. Even if Pereira manages to beat Cyril Gane and win the belt, it is very unlikely that he would stick around for long. At last, the Brazilian is pushing 40 years old and has spent years competing at the highest level in both kickboxing and mixed martial arts. On paper, Tom Aspinall as a young champion should be the safer bet as the fighter to hitch their wagon to, but somehow, the organization managed to fumble that as well. His father and manager is already bringing up the possibility of not renewing their contract.
But I think if you get into that top percentage of the sport, the UFC do not pay anywhere near as much as the boxing does.
For a heavyweight to survive the next few years, it needs young, charismatic, and competent fighters to carry it forward. And the thing is, this is precisely what Hokit is.
Because he is an incredible athlete. He is an incredible football player and an incredible wrestler. He was a D1 football player and wrestler at the same time. There's footage of him and Bo Nickel going toe-to-toe in wrestling. This is an incredible athlete, the type of athlete that we haven't seen in the heavyweight division in quite some time.
At last, the UFC seems to be remedying the fact that the heavyweight division was heading straight off a cliff. Recently, the UFC signed Gable Stevenson, a 25-year-old Olympic gold medalist wrestler. As for Josh, he may very well represent the future of the weight class, and the organization seems on board with that. Up next, he's already scheduled to face Derek Lewis at the most important card of the year at the White House. And already, he's stealing the spotlight.
He says, Shama, he speaks English.
He doesn't need me to
He speaks English, he's just Shama.
Hey, you
Ele
falou Shama, você fala inglês.
You, little bitch. I have the real BMF belt. Little short midget. You.
Little bitch.
Little
Sit
midget.
down.
Come up to a real ring. I'll give it to anybody. I don't give a Hey, you have your boyfriend speaking for you?
Tá deixando o Ilha falar por você, é isso?
Corny? Sure. But the bottom line is, he somehow managed to be the most talked about fighter in a press conference filled with current and former champions. On top of that, the seeds of a rivalry with arguably MMA's biggest star, Alex Pereira, could already be in motion. But before we get ahead of ourselves, he has to get through Lewis first. Another strong performance on the biggest possible stage could cement him as an MMA star, and a title fight could materialize sooner than anyone expected. So this is how a man with the strangest promotional skills someone barely noticed just months ago now has a real chance of becoming the face of the sport. And while doing so, he seems to be winning a few fans over.
He walked the talk tonight, you know what I mean? When people come out and say stupid shit and have sort of a shtick, it's not my thing. But nothing but respect for both of those men tonight. And that fight was unbelievable, and yeah, you won't hear a word out of me from here on out about him. He like I said, he walked the talk, so.
This is how Josh Hokit went from meme to potential savior of the heavyweight division, and the UFC desperately needs someone like him right now. If you want to know why, check out the downfall of what used to be must-watch TV, the UFC press conference.